Imagine for a second that your house could feel lighter, cleaner, and calmer without making big changes. Well, today I am going to reveal something that almost nobody in the West knows. The Japanese have extremely strange habits inside their homes, small gestures that seem insignificant but that completely transform the energy and the order of a house. And the most surprising thing is that they are so simple that anyone can copy them, but very few people outside of Japan know they exist. Stay, because number 7 is going to leave you with your mouth open. One of these strange habits is ventilating the house as soon as they open their eyes. And when I say ventilate, I do not mean opening a window for a little while they prepare breakfast. No. In Japan, this is almost a sacred ritual. As soon as they wake up, before looking at the phone, before talking to someone, before doing anything, they walk toward the windows and open them wide for some very specific minutes. It is not improvised. They do it every day, whether it rains, is cold or hot. They let the air circulate completely, as if they wanted the whole house to breathe with them. They deeply believe that the old air, the one that gets trapped during the night, holds tiredness, heaviness, and a kind of bad luck that accumulates between the walls. And even though it sounds mystical, for them it makes a lot of sense. If you slept in a closed environment, full of humidity, carbon dioxide and microscopic dust, that air should not accompany you during the day. So they expel it symbolically every morning, like someone who throws out bad mood, stress, or the energy from the previous day. It is almost poetic, but also very practical. There are Japanese housewives who even follow an order. First they open the bedroom windows, then the living room ones, then the kitchen ones. While the air travels through the house, they make the bed, shake the pillows, and arrange the clothes that were left around. All this in silence, letting the ventilation renew the entire house. It is as if each current of air swept away laziness and left space for mental clarity. And although it seems strange, scientifically it makes sense. Ventilating the house in this way reduces the concentration of dust that accumulates while we sleep, lowers the humidity that attracts mold and mites, and increases the sensation of well-being because the brain receives more oxygen. It is no coincidence that many Japanese women say that after ventilating, the house feels more alive. And it is true, the smell changes, the temperature changes, the way the house sounds changes. What is fascinating is that in the West we tend to ventilate only when we feel hot or when something smells strange. They do it out of prevention, not reaction. And the difference shows. A house ventilated from early in the morning smells fresher, gets dirty less, and wakes you up more than a coffee. Yes, it is a strange habit, but it works so well that when you try it once, you never want to stop doing it. Another curious habit is that they never leave sponges wet. For us it can be normal to finish washing the dishes, rinse the sponge, and leave it there, next to the sink, waiting for it to dry by itself. But in Japan that would be unthinkable. They believe that a wet sponge not only accumulates bacteria, but also stagnant energy, a kind of heaviness that gets trapped in wet objects inside the kitchen. So the sponges never touch the surface. Ever. As soon as they finish washing, they squeeze the sponge tightly, rinse it, and hang it on a small special hook designed so it stays suspended in the air. The idea is that it has no contact with anything, not with the sink, not with the countertop, not with any other utensil. That way it dries faster and avoids becoming a magnet of odors, mold, and dirt. It is incredible, but just hanging it completely changes the hygiene in the kitchen. And here comes the strangest part. Many Japanese families boil their sponges once a week. Literally, they fill a pot with water, place the sponge inside and let it boil as if they were disinfecting a surgical instrument. For them, it is a kind of purification ceremony, a moment in which they free the sponge from everything bad it has absorbed during the week. Some people even do it while ventilating the kitchen, so the steam goes out with everything they no longer want inside the house. If you think about it, it is not so crazy. A wet sponge is one of the objects with the most bacteria in the entire home, even more than the toilet. But in the West we get used to seeing it there, wet, crushed in the sink, smelling weird after a few days. Instead, they treat this small object with a level of discipline almost spiritual. And although it may sound exaggerated, the results show. The kitchen smells better, the sponge lasts longer, and daily cleaning is much more pleasant. Imagine doing that in your house, finishing washing, hanging the sponge, and knowing that it is completely dry for the next use. And once a week, boiling it for a few minutes so it becomes like new. It is a strange habit, yes, but so effective that it is even satisfying to copy it. They also have a fascinating custom. They fold towels following a method that prevents the corners from sticking out. It is not simply a pretty organization technique, it is a complete philosophy. In Japan, they believe that everything that points outward, everything that sticks out, scatters the energy of the house. It is as if objects extended small arrows that push harmony outward. That is why when they fold towels, they hide all the corners inward with almost ritual care. The surprising thing is that they do not do it out of aesthetic obsession. They truly feel that order begins from the smallest details. If a towel is badly folded, they do not place it on top trying to hide it. They unfold it completely and fold it again from scratch, ensuring the corners stay protected toward the inside. Some housewives even compare it to hugging an object, wrapping it so it preserves its energy and does not let it escape while stored. And although it seems exaggerated or superstitious, visually it has powerful logic. When all the towels are aligned, with no points sticking out, the shelf looks cleaner, softer, more uniform. There are fewer distractions, less visual noise, and that generates an immediate sense of tranquility. It is one of those tiny changes you cannot explain, but that make the bathroom or the closet feel more elegant without having bought anything new. For them, folding a towel is a moment of calm. They do not do it in a hurry, they do it with intention. Each fold is like a micro-action of mental order. While they fold, some Japanese women even repeat a traditional phrase, close to maintain, which means to keep things inward to preserve the harmony of the home. And here comes the most curious part. If you try this technique just once, the same thing will happen to you that happens to many people who discover it. You will no longer be able to fold towels the way you did before. Because the difference is noticeable. Your shelf looks more uniform, more professional, almost as if it were organized by a luxury hotel. And without knowing exactly why, it gives you a small sense of pride and peace when you see it tidy. It may sound crazy, but it works. And it is one of those Japanese habits so small, so secret and so strange that, when you copy them, the house begins to feel different without making big changes. An even stranger habit is cleaning the entrance of the house even if it is clean. For the Japanese, the entrance, the genkan, is not just a piece of floor where you leave your shoes. It is a sacred space. They believe that the door is the exact point where the chaos of the outside world ends and the calm of the home begins. That is why they never allow it to have dust, footprints, or dirt, even if it is minimal. Cleaning the entrance is not a task, it is a symbolic act. It is like telling the universe, nothing negative enters here. What is curious is that, even though from the outside it may seem exaggerated, for them it is the most normal thing in the world. Some housewives clean the door frame every morning, passing a cloth gently along the edges as if they were waking up the house. Then they clean the doorbell, because they believe it is the first thing that foreign energy touches. And then they do something that almost nobody does in the West. They clean the lower part of the door, the part that is almost never seen, the one we always forget. For them, that hidden zone represents the things we let pass without realizing it. If it is clean, the entire house feels more protected. And here comes the most interesting thing. Even if the entrance is spotless, they still clean it. They do not wait to see dirt to act. They do it for prevention, for intention. That daily routine creates an immediate sensation of a welcoming home, as if when you cross the threshold you felt the house embrace you. It is impressive how the environment changes when that area is perfectly cared for. There are even families who place a small bowl with water or salt near the entrance, not to be seen, but to absorb the bad vibes from the outside. And at the end of the day they empty it, as if they were releasing everything they do not want to stay inside. It is a mix between tradition, superstition, and discipline. But it works. If you were to try cleaning the frame, the doorbell, and the entire door for a few days, you would notice that your house feels more orderly from the very first step you take. And the best part is that it takes less than a minute. It is a very strange habit, yes, but also one of the most powerful for transforming the feeling of your home without moving a single piece of furniture. Another strange behavior is storing remote controls in small trays or boxes. They would hate to see one lying around. For the Japanese, objects that represent decisions, like changing the channel, raising the volume, turning a device on or off, should not be left scattered around the house. They say that when those objects are dispersed, the mind also becomes dispersed. It is as if each remote control were a silent reminder of the thousands of small decisions we make daily, and if they are out of place, they generate mental noise that we do not notice, but we definitely feel. That is why many Japanese homes have a small tray on the coffee table or a wooden little box next to the sofa. There they store all the remotes, aligned clean, and always facing the same direction. When someone finishes using one, they do not leave it on the couch or on the floor, it goes straight back to its tray. And the curious thing is that they do not see this as a strict rule, but as a gesture of respect toward the object and toward the harmony of the home. In the West, we are so used to seeing remote controls spread everywhere on top of the TV, between the cushions in the kitchen, even in the bathroom, that we think it is normal. But the Japanese say that this invisible disorder exhausts more than big disorder. Because it does not bother enough to make you clean it, but it does bother enough to slowly saturate your sight and your mind. By having them grouped in a single tray, everything changes. The living room looks more organized without having cleaned anything else. There are no objects calling your attention, no bright colors interrupting the decor, no visual discomfort of seeing a remote out of place. And the most interesting part is that this habit reduces anxiety. Yes, something as simple as this. Because the brain loves patterns and hates visual interruptions. Besides, trays prevent remotes from getting lost, falling on the floor, or ending up hidden between sofa cushions. Order becomes automatic. You use it, you return it, period. It may seem silly, but when you try having all the remotes gathered in a small space, you realize how the energy of the living room changes. Suddenly the house feels calmer and you feel more in control of your objects and your day. It is a strange habit, yes, but incredibly effective. One that will surprise you. Many families place a glass of water next to the window during the night. And it is not a simple glass forgotten there, they place it with intention. They believe that water has the ability to absorb impurities from the environment, excess humidity, and even what they call heavy energy, that strange sensation that sometimes accumulates in a room after a difficult day. The glass becomes a kind of invisible magnet that attracts everything that should not remain in the home while everyone sleeps. What is interesting is that they never cover it. The glass must be completely open so it can breathe with the house. Some place it on the windowsill, others right on the floor edge, where they believe the energy circulates more strongly. They leave it all night in silence, as if it were working for them while they rest. The next day, as soon as they get up, the first thing they do is discard that water. And they do not throw it just anywhere. Many pour it directly down the drain, visualizing how it takes away everything the house absorbed during the night. For them, it is emotional trash trapped in a simple glass. Something that should not stay even one more minute inside the home. The most curious thing is that, for many Japanese housewives, this small ritual completely changes the feeling of how the day begins. They say that the rooms feel lighter, fresher, almost as if they had been ventilated from the inside out. Some even say that when they forget to place the glass, they notice the environment feels heavier when waking up. And even though it sounds mystical, it has an interesting logic. Water can indeed capture odors, humidity, and almost imperceptible particles. But beyond the physical, the symbolic act is what transforms perception. It is a way of saying, everything bad that happened yesterday leaves today. If you think about it, it is such a simple habit that it makes you curious to try it. And the most surprising thing is that many people who adopt it end up feeling that they sleep better and that the house wakes up with a different calm. Strange, yes, but incredibly powerful.